Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you've all had a good week. I personally can't wait for spring. I am sick to death of feeling cold all the time. I'm sick to death of dark, freezing cold mornings. Somebody said to me earlier in the week, why is it that every other month in the year has 30 or 31 days and January seems to have about 700? I totally get that, I really do. Hopefully we're seeing January off any minute now and February will fly. I always find that in March it starts to warm up a bit, so that's all I'm looking forward to now. So as I say, hope you've all had a good week. Screen's just gone off. I really must change the settings on this, it just blanks out if I don't move the mouse every few minutes. I'll start with comments. I'm going to try and bring this in at under an hour today because it is bloody cold in here. The only thing is if I put a hoodie on it's too hot, so I can't win. So I'll start with David. Always start with David. Morning, Dave. Awesome vid as always. My top 10 favourite films. So he sent me his top 10. Number one, I'll tell you what, I'll do them in reverse order, but I don't know whether they're in any particular order. Start at 10, Superman 2. Brilliant sequel. One of the rare occasions where the sequel is either better or as good as the original. Brilliant movie. Number 9, Thunderbirds Are Go. I didn't see that one coming. I used to love Thunderbirds and those two feature films that they did, Thunderbirds Are Go and Thunderbirds 6. Just brilliant. I've got them on Blu-ray somewhere upstairs and I keep meaning to re-watch them because I've not seen them for quite a few years, but good choice, mate. Number 8, Live and Let Die. I think this is pretty much everybody's favourite Bond film, apart from mine, which as you all know is on Her Majesty's Secret Service, but a close second would be, I would say, Live and Let Die, because it was the first one that I saw at Burton Odeon. Mum and Dad took me to see it. Absolutely loved it, and I've loved it ever since. So yeah, good choice. Number 7, Never Ending Story. Classic family movie that is apparently getting some kind of a rework, a revamp, reboot, or whatever you want to call it. I think we discussed this the other week. I don't think any of us are, really up for it, although I'm fairly sure we'll all give it a go, a fair chance sort of thing, just to see how it goes. But the original, absolutely brilliant, and that theme song by Limahl, faultless. Number 6, They Live. This is a John Carpenter film. I've only seen it once and I didn't really get on with it. I need to give it a second watch. I just found it completely different from anything I'd seen that he'd done before. It was good, but it just wasn't my kind of thing, but I'd love to give it a second viewing. Number 5, Empire Strikes Back. Another classic example of the sequel being either as good as or better than the original. Empire Strikes Back is absolutely stupendous. Absolutely love it. Number 4, Nobody. This is that Bob Odenkirk film, isn't it? I've got it on Blu-ray upstairs, but I've not dared put it on yet. I've heard it's an absolute bone-crunching nightmare. But whether it is or not remains to be seen. I will give it a look at some point, but it's far from the top of my watch list, to be fair. Number 3, Deadpool. Really, really enjoyed the first one. I'm still, and I'm ashamed to say this, only 3/4 of the way through Deadpool 2. And I've certainly not seen Deadpool versus Wolverine because apparently I need to go back and watch certain other movies to be able to get all of the references within the dialogue. So I will finally finish it and I'll get on to those other movies as well. Number 2, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This is one you recommended to me, Dave. I got it on Blu-ray, but I still haven't watched it yet. This is such an old story with me. You must get sick of hearing me saying it. I certainly get sick of hearing myself say it. I have got it and I will be taking a look at it at some point. I'll try and add it to maybe March's watch list. And number 1, The Dark Knight. I've only ever seen it once, or have I seen that one? Oh no, this is the trilogy that I've not seen. This is the Christopher Nolan trilogy, isn't it? This is the ones I've not seen. I've seen Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, and also Batman Returns with Danny DeVito, and I think that's the one with Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer. Not seen any of the others, and I've not seen the Christopher Nolan trilogy. I do need to take those in, absolutely. But great list, mate. You got some honourable mentions here. Well, one, Justice League, the Zack Snyder version. Um, Justice League, when it came out originally, I believe was a bit of a flop. It was a complete nightmare. And then Zack Snyder did something with it, re-released it, and it shot to the top of a lot of people's watch list. I haven't seen it. It's not really my kind of film, but I totally get why you would like it. So thanks for that, mate. Much appreciated. Thoughts on the Razzies Awards? You've asked me. The Razzies, the Golden Raspberries. As you know, I'm not a massive fan of rubbishing other people's work. So I've been reading up a little bit on the Razzies, and apparently not many celebrities attend them. Certainly not the recipients of the awards. So it's an online thing mainly, isn't it? I mean, I will look at it with great interest, but a lot of the movies that are on what is classed as the Razzies list, I would probably enjoy watching. So my thoughts on the Razzies, it is what it is. It's not my kind of thing. It's not something that I would watch just to see people basically trashing other people's hard work. But I guess it's just a bit of fun, and I'm sure that's all it's taken as. But I'm also sure that a lot of celebrities do not find it funny at all. And I can imagine why. So, and I've been on YouTube for 2 years. I experience regular interaction with fellow film fans, and I'm gaining a lot of self-confidence by doing it. I'm certainly a lot better self-confidence-wise since I started doing this, just not in the field of actually meeting people yet. It's the age-old thing. You always think, and I always think this, that I've got nothing of any interest to say unless I'm sitting in front of this thing. But I could be wrong. As I say, this could all change, but I'm quite staid in my ways nowadays, so it's unlikely it will change, but unfortunately, that's just the way I am. But I'm really pleased it's working out for you, David. Obviously, your self-confidence is boosting no end, so that's brilliant news. Thanks ever so much for that, Dave. Good to hear from you, as always. Rick, morning, Rick. Right. If ever there was a time to challenge Tony, it's now. Oh, God. I've just got done shooting a movie with Lawrence R. Harvey from the Human Centipede films. Really? What a gentleman he was to work with. I challenged Tony to watch, here it comes, The Human Centipede 2. You can catch it edited in black and white if it makes you feel any better. Whether it's black and white or colour is not the issue with me. I know about Human Centipede 2. It is difficult to find an uncut version of this movie because apparently it is so over the top unpleasant. If I absolutely had to, if you insisted, that I would probably give the original a go, but I'm fairly sure I know exactly how I'm going to come out of that one, and it's not very favourable. Leave it with me, Rick. I'm not turning down the throwing down of the gauntlet on that one. I just need time to get my thoughts together, because I've always said, as you all know, that I would never touch Human Centipede with a barge pole. Basically because I know what it's about and I find the whole idea just absolutely repugnant. But people keep telling me it's not that bad a film, so leave it with me. I may just relent on this one. We shall see how we go. Statham, you were saying, Rick, was from Shirebrook in Mansfield. His family are still round there. I didn't know that. I'm just starting to get into Statham's movies. Obviously, I've seen The Meg and The Meg 2. Got a copy of Homefront not too long ago, which I've not seen yet. But yes, I'm getting more and more into Statham's, my idea of Statham's movies, let's put it that way. I really enjoyed his performance in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, and also Snatch. So I know that in the hands of Guy Ritchie, he can be absolutely brilliant, but I'm told his action films are absolutely superb. So leave that with me. I will be getting more Statham titles watched, and I shall let you know how that goes. So thanks, Rick. Leave the challenge with me. I'm not turning it down. I'm just going to think about it. Roy. Morning, Roy. Morning, Tony. Great stuff as usual, mate. Cheers, Roy. Much appreciated. I tell you what, I loved your top 10, such a different list to many others. I can't remember what was on it. I know roughly what my top 5 was, because that hardly ever changes. But for the rest of them, I haven't got a clue. But I do try to make them a little bit different. I've got so many favourites. Whenever I say to anybody, name me your top 10 films, they can't do it. So heaven forbid I should ask them for what their favourite movie is. That would really stump them. But I'm just the same. I have such trouble picking out sort of top 10 because I'll look on the shelf afterwards and think, oh God, I forgot. Oh, that one. Oh, maybe that one as well. It's a hard thing to do. I watched Saturday Night Fever for the first time ever the other day, and you can hear what I thought on the weekly watches. Shameless plug. You plug all you want, mate. Yes, I've watched that. I'm really pleased you enjoyed it. You certainly didn't think you were going to. I think you were under the impression that it was going to be like Grease. Absolutely nothing like Grease, and it's nothing like anybody thinks it is when they watch it. As I've said before, they think it's just going to be this cutesy little disco movie, but far from it. It's a hard-edged sort of movie about youth with a blinding, blistering soundtrack, but it's not family viewing, even though it was released a couple of years later as an A certificate version. What they did was they took all the swearing out, they took all the sex out, and anything else that would not have passed for an A certificate, which is the equivalent of a PG nowadays, and re-released it, and it did brilliant business because obviously all the kids that wanted to see it and couldn't get into it because it was an X certificate due to the content could actually go and watch it. So it did really well, but that version has never been seen since, and I'm hoping in 2027, when it is the 50th anniversary of the movie, I'm hoping somebody thinks to include that with what I hope is going to be a brilliant box set, and drop the A certificate version in there as well, because there are a lot of people that would love to see it. I think there are videos of it on YouTube, just basically breaking down scenes and showing the comparison between the X certificate and the A certificate, but I want the full movie, and that will complete the set. But I'm hoping there's going to be an absolutely brilliant sort of 50th anniversary box set sometime in 2027. The same with Close Encounters. I think 1977 was definitely my favourite year of movies. There was some absolute brilliant titles out that year. Taxi Driver, I've only seen once and have no strong opinions either way, to be honest. It seems to be a Marmite movie. I love it. Callum hated it. Everybody else seems to think it's okay. So yeah, I kind of get that. I mean, I'm due to rewatch it again. Round about once a year I'll pop that one on, or it'll come on to Sky Movies or something, and if I'm 5 minutes in I'll just watch the end of it. So yeah, I always want to ask about that picture above the Scarface one. It took me a few weeks to realise it was an actual picture. What's the story behind it, and where did you get it? It's not a picture, Roy. I think I've messaged you on this. It's not a picture. That is actually, it used to be a serving hatch when we moved in. It was just a hole, and we had shelves sort of put in it and put VHS tapes and DVDs on it. So it is actually an actual shelf, and I'll take a decent picture of it and pop it on the group just to show you what's actually on there. But there's all sorts. It's mostly old music, VHS and DVDs. There's also the Carry On series that came free with I think it was a weekly or monthly magazine, and they all sort of fit together to form a picture of the team. It was a lovely set. I'm hoping they're going to release those on Blu-ray at some point soon. It's about time. But yes, it is an actual shelf. But I can see, just looking at it now, it looks like a picture, and it does. Minder is my all-time favourite TV programme. Arthur Daly, what a legend. I have the box set, think it's pretty pricey now. Got something to show you later on. I've never seen Minder, and I got such shit for admitting that. I loved The Sweeney. I thought Dennis Waterman was brilliant in that. But I remember reading about Minder when it first came out. And for some stupid reason, and don't ask me why because I don't know, I thought it was something to do with ESP or that kind of thing, sort of supernatural things, and I never bothered with it because I thought Dennis Waterman is something like that. I didn't realise a minder was basically a kind of a bouncer, that kind of thing. I thought it was going to be something to do with mind reading. That's why I never bothered with it. And the years went by, and I finally found out what it was and thought, oh, can't be arsed with it now. But as I say, got something to show you a little bit later. So thanks for that, Roy. Always brilliant to hear from you, as always. Stuart, morning, Stu. Taxi driver, boring. Steady yourself, mate. I needed steadying after that one. It did come as a bit of a surprise. But like I've said before, if we all liked the same movies, it'd be a pretty bloody boring group, wouldn't it? And the banter is part of it. I don't think it could survive without it. But yeah, it did kind of catch me sort of unawares, that one. So on my top 10 favourite sci-fi movies video, someone commented saying Close Encounters of the Third Kind is boring as fuck. Twat. Whoever that was. I bloody love Close Encounters. The last 25 minutes are operatic with the mothership and the music chimes. It's glorious. You've said it all. You know my feelings on Close Encounters. I love it. I may even put it on later today. I'm recording this nice and early in the morning, and I do want something to watch that's going to be sort of easy on the eye, and I think Close Encounters would be absolutely perfect. And indeed, Saturday Night Fever is amazing. It most certainly is. My two favourite movies ever, as you all know. I enjoyed 65. This is Adam Driver and dinosaurs, isn't it? It's simplistic sci-fi, lands on a planet, fights monsters, nice short runtime. Sounds perfect. That's another one to add to my watch list then. I'm having a Dustin Hoffman double bill today. Two movies I haven't seen before, Marathon Man and Rain Man. What's your favourite Dustin Hoffman movies? Well, first off, you are going to absolutely love Marathon Man. It is an awesome film. If you can get past the dentist scene, which I've basically seen it so many times now that I don't mind it, but the first time I watched it, holy crap. I mean, I didn't like dentists anyway, I still don't. But watching that, it's like, fuck, that's nasty. Rain Man's very good. Seen it once, but yeah, very, very good. My favourites, Hoffman movies, I like Sleepers. I've got them all written down here. Marathon Man, obviously, is brilliant, as you've just heard. Straw Dogs was awesome. The original home invasion movie, absolutely superb. My two favourites, I would have to say, and I've shown these before, so I'm going to rattle through them. My number one is definitely Midnight Cowboy. What a movie. Dustin Hoffman, John Voight, a score by John Barry, and a brilliant story. Absolutely faultless. And this is one that doesn't get enough love or mentions. I really, really enjoyed this. It's a longish film. What's the runtime of it? 133 minutes, so it's 2.25 hours. But I tell you what, there isn't a minute of screen time wasted on this. All the President's Men. I need to get a Blu-ray copy of this. This is a very old DVD. Basically, Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman played Woodward and Bernstein, who were the reporters working for the Washington Post who broke the Nixon scandal. I think it was the early 70s or late 60s. It's just brilliant. As it says there, the most devastating detective story of the century. Basically, it's just 2 hours of these two reporters digging away, interviewing people to get to the bottom of a story about a break-in at the, I think it's Nixon's campaign office. They are both absolutely brilliant in this. It is riveting stuff. I haven't seen it for a while. I do need to give it a rewatch, but I absolutely love this film. Honourable mentions, Lenny. I enjoyed Lenny. That was the one where he played Lenny Bruce, the controversial comedian of the 60s that paved the way for people like Richard Pryor, all those sort of people, Eddie Murphy. They would all, I'm fairly sure, cite Lenny Bruce as an influence on their work. Tootsie, which was just amazing. Kramer versus Kramer, what a drama. Rain Man, very good. And I have a very, very soft spot for a movie called Ishtar. Do you remember that one? This is the one where he starred with, what was his name? Played Clyde. Warren Beatty. God, my memory's getting so rubbish nowadays. Basically play cabaret singers in very crap ones actually, working in the middle of the desert somewhere in some desert town and get involved in some espionage thing. It was slated to hell when it came out. Nobody liked it. Everybody said it was complete and utter rubbish. I watched it and thought, do you know what? That's nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. I quite enjoyed it, but I've not seen it for a while. So how it holds up now, I don't know. So that's another one that I need to give a second viewing. But I quite liked Ishtar, but that I would class as my favourite Dustin Hoffman movies. I'm sure there are others. There's ones that I've not seen. The one where he plays the 100-year-old guy. What was that called? Can't remember. But there are quite a few that I've not seen that I would love to take in. So great video today, Tom. Thanks, Roy. Much appreciated. Stuart, rather. Much appreciated. Thanks, mate. Callum, morning, Cal. The man who hated Taxi Driver. God damn it. Great video, Tony. I have added Midnight Express to my watch list, so I will get to it eventually. I don't think you'll go wrong with Midnight Express. I said that about Taxi Driver, but I think you'll enjoy Midnight Express. It's a straightforward drama, and it's brutal as hell. Well, I think it is. Liked your top 10, mate. The Godfather films have been on my watch list for a while now. Need to watch them. Keep up the good work. Cheers, Cal. Yeah, the Godfather movies are very good. Again, long running times. I think the original is 2 hours and 50 minutes. I believe Godfather 2 is approaching 4 hours. That's a long ass film. As for Godfather 3, only seen it the once, quite enjoyed it. Nowhere near as good as the original 2, but definitely worth a watch. So I'd recommend those. Thanks, Cal. Much appreciated, mate. Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. Morning, Steve. Sad news about David Lynch. He hadn't directed a film since 2006, Inland Empire. His last directing project was Twin Peaks: The Return for TV. I didn't realise this, and I looked, basically at his filmography, and I was really, really surprised to find that the last film he did was in 2006. Don't know why. I thought he'd done stuff sort of a lot more recently than that, but that kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, sad loss, absolutely. I have all his films, a lot of Criterion. He was always an acquired taste. My favourite is Blue Velvet. I would have to say, yeah, I would agree with that. There are many that I do want to take in. There's 3 or 4 that I've not seen, but I would definitely say Blue Velvet is I would class that as my favourite. John Hurt was John Merrick. Oh God, did I make some mistakes last week and Steve's pulled me up on all of them. John Hurt was John Merrick. I couldn't remember the name of the character he played. I did a small tribute on my latest video for Winchester 73. I need to check that one out. John Badham directed Saturday Night Fever, but Stigall was producer. My favourite film ever, and I couldn't even get the director right. Nice one, Steve. The White Pudding was sarcastic, a joke. I don't know what went wrong last week. It wasn't the best. It really, really wasn't. But yeah, we'll come back to the white pudding thing at some point, or the woke thing, because it's by no means over. If anything, it's getting worse. So thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciated. Sam, morning, Sam. Awesome video as ever, Tone. Great top 10 list there, bud. I've not seen Barbarella. Looks like a fun watch. It's more than a fun watch. It's a brilliant movie, Sam. I think you would love it. The soundtrack is amazing. The film itself is colourful, trippy as hell. Jane Fonda is just brilliant. I heard somewhere, and I don't know whether this is true, she doesn't like talking about Barbarella. I presume because of what would be classed as the sexual content. But it wasn't really that bad, especially, I mean, you're going back to 1968, so you're talking nearly 60 years. So it wouldn't look like anything now, but it's just a great fun movie. If you enjoy Flash Gordon and that kind of colourful camp sort of humour, you would really get on with Barbarella. I definitely recommend it. Haven't seen Close Encounters for years. I haven't watched it for quite a while, so that's why I mentioned that I might give it a go very shortly. Love Saturday Night Fever. Need to grab the 4K at some point. It's a beautiful transfer, mate. It is absolutely worth it. It's one of those movies that I've kept every single version that I've ever had. The only one I've not got is the CIC VHS from, oh God, that would have been the sort of early 80s, something like that. I must have a look to see if I can get a copy of that, but I've got every other version. Been wanting to check out The Devils for some time now, and that most definitely will be my next one to watch from Ken Russell. Much needed after watching Gothic, which I thought was utter drivel. Just so dull, and the film completely lost me at points. Utter crap, in my most humble opinion. Don't hold back, Sam. Just fucking go for it. The Devils. It's a hard watch. It's a really tough watch for a movie that's over 50 years old. The visuals are just. I think Mark Kermode described it as fiery. The movie itself is as fiery as hell. I'd be very, very curious to know what you make of it when you get round to watching it. That is definitely an acquired taste, and it's one of those you will either love it or hate it. I think you'll love it. Gothic, I've never seen. I remember it coming into the video shop when I worked there. Never bothered watching it. I mean, if it lost you, I don't stand a chance because I don't do confusion in movies. I just don't. So yeah, I get the feeling that if it's lost you, I wouldn't stand a chance with it. Tony, I can't remember if I asked you this or not. Have you seen a film called Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman? I haven't. I remember seeing the poster for this in a copy of Film Review that I picked up from the cinema, and we're going back to about 1970, 78, I think, something like that. It was an X certificate, and I thought at the time I'd really, really love to watch that. I'm going to try and get a copy of it because I've heard great things about it, and I've watched the trailer, and it is exactly right up my street. So I'm going to be finding that one. So leave that one with me. Looks and sounds really good. Love Marathon Man and Kramer versus Kramer. Never seen Straw Dogs, but heard great things, bud. Marathon Man brilliant. Kramer versus Kramer, superb, excellent drama. Straw Dogs, please, please, please watch Straw Dogs. It is in my top five. My top five is basically movies that caused problems with the censors when they first came out. And 1971 was a brilliant year for that. 1971 was an excellent year for what they class as scandal movies, movies that caused problems with the BBFC. Straw Dogs was top of that list. It was really pushing buttons back in 1971. People, it did upset people, and as I said before, even the author of the original book upon which the film was based disassociated himself from the film because there was too much mayhem going on. So Straw Dogs, please, please watch and let me know what you think. I'd be very curious to know what you make of it. I ordered 4, 3, 2, 1. I ordered a premium copy of Ride the High Country, which seems to be going out of print now. This is a Western by the sounds of it. I've not seen it. If it's a premium collection, it'll be HMV, so I'll keep an eye out for that one. Another Sam Peckinpah Western, which I heard great things about as well, is The Wild Bunch. Have you seen these films? I've not seen Ride the High Country. I saw The Wild Bunch many, many years ago. I have got it on Blu-ray, but I've not watched it yet, but I have seen it. It's really, really violent. It's one of those movies that you hear about the violent content and you think, it can't be that bad. And then you watch it and think, bloody hell. It's like everything turned up to 11, but it's worth watching. Tyneside are doing a David Lynch season in his honour. I've never seen his version of Dune, but seems to be finding its feet as a cult movie. I saw Dune a long time ago. It made absolutely no sense to me, but visually it was beautiful to look at. And now, looking back on it, now having seen some of David Lynch's later movies, I can see why people didn't like it. But as you say, it's finding its feet now as a cult movie, which seems to happen a lot. You know, movies get slated in their early days when they're sort of first released, then all of a sudden 10, 20 years later everybody wants it. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Only seen Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive and Straight Story the once. I want to see all of those. Wild at Heart I've seen once and really love. Mulholland Drive, Rob bought me on 4K a few months ago and I need to watch that. Straight Story I would love to see. I didn't realise what it was about and I read it and I thought that sounds absolutely charming. Is it a David Lynch film? And then I looked and sure enough it was. So yes, I will be taking that one in. Loved all those films. Didn't like Inland Empire and Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Not seen either of those, so I can't comment on those. However, regarding Fire Walk with Me, Perhaps it may change my opinion if I were to see it at the cinema. A lot of people say this, is that they don't like a movie, then all of a sudden they watch it actually on a cinema screen and it takes on a different look. Now, I can't remember, to be honest, because it's been so long since I went inside a cinema. But I do kind of totally get that. Let's see. Unforgiven was great, Tony. I had such an awesome time with westerns this month. Rewatched Once Upon a Time in the West. Amazing stuff as ever, bud. I did watch The Grand Duel. Never heard of that one, which was all right. But then I watched The Rare Breed starring Jimmy Stewart, which was pretty good. Have you seen this one, bud? I haven't. No. I do like Jimmy Stewart as an actor, so that's one that I probably would enjoy. I pre-ordered both second sight editions of Scanners and The Brood. March is looking like a belter of a month for physical media. Do you have any anticipated new releases for both new movies or physical media? The only one I'm really looking forward to, and I thought about this the other day, The Land That Time Forgot from 1975. It was Doug McClure and a load of ropey dinosaurs, but I absolutely adored it. It's coming up on 50 years this year, and I would love to see a Doug McClure box set of The Land That Time Forgot, The People That Time Forgot, At the Earth's Core, and my all-time favourite in that series, Warlords of Atlantis. They are screaming out for Blu-ray releases. So they are the ones that I would most like to see. There may be others. You're looking at 1975, aren't you? So I'll go through 1975's films at some point, and I'll let you know if there are any others that I'm looking forward to 50th anniversary editions. Jaws, obviously, but there's many more, I'm sure. Fantastic video, as ever, Tone. Keep up the awesome work, and you'll be on your way to 200 subs before you know it. Oh, God. We shall see on that one. I'm not holding out any hope on that one, but if it happens, it happens. But thanks ever so much, Sam. Much appreciated, mate. And obviously, thanks for your kind words and continued support. It means a lot. So, right, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back with more comments in just a second. And we're back. Right, on with the comments. Dave Taylor, morning, Dave. Hi, Tony. Great vid as ever. Much appreciated, mate. Worst movies. He sent me some of his worst movies here. In Cold Blood, 1967. Boring as hell. I looked this one up. It's some kind of a true crime thing, isn't it? Probably the kind of thing I would enjoy, but I don't know. Jury's out on that one. The Damned from 1962. I bought this on Blu-ray not too long back. This is an early kind of sort of black and white Hammer movie, isn't it? I think it's most notable for being an early role for Oliver Reed. So I almost certainly would enjoy that one. I did watch the trailer for it and thought it looked very, very strange. Very intriguing though, which is why I grabbed a Blu-ray of it. So I'll let you know when I actually finally get round to this. One here that I've never heard of, Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon from 2021. I know absolutely nothing about this. I'd never heard of it. I did look it up on the IMDb. Not really my kind of film from what I could make out. Does anybody else see Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon? The Sum of All Fears from 2002. This is a Tom Clancy adaptation, isn't it? Harrison Ford, is it Jack Ryan? Not seen it. The only one I've ever seen of that ilk is probably The Hunt for Red October, and I did see Patriot Games, which I quite enjoyed. I've not seen The Sum of All Fears. Again, not really my kind of film. It's one of those that if I bumped into it while channel hopping one night, I'd probably take a look and see what I thought. But I'd certainly give it sort of second thoughts now after what you've just said. King of Thieves from 2018. This is another crime caper, isn't it? Not my favourite genre of movies, to be honest. So that's probably one that I wouldn't bother with, and again, unless I had to. And The Sweeney. Now, I'm assuming that this is the 2012 reboot with Ray Winston as Jack Regan. The first time I watched it, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was complete and utter tripe. To me, it bore no resemblance whatsoever to the original series. I don't know what I thought we were getting when it came out. I imagined it to be some kind of 70s throwback, basically set in the same era as the series, and it would look pretty much like the series. It was nothing like it. The only bit I did enjoy, I suppose, was Ray Winston's portrayal of Jack Regan, which I thought was excellent. The guy they picked for George Carter, that was obviously Dennis Waterman's role. Ben Drew, oh God, he just looked like a kid. He didn't look anything like I imagined George Carter to look. Maybe it's one of those things that I watched The Sweeney for so many years, I could not imagine anyone else playing Regan and Carter. So it was wrong-footed before it even started for me. But I did watch it again quite recently, probably a year or two back, and actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I basically left all memories behind of the original series and just watched it as a standalone crime cops and robbers caper, and I really, really enjoyed it on those grounds. I'm hoping you don't mean the 1977 feature-length movie starring Thor and Waterman, because I really enjoyed that, and Sweeney too. But that's your worst ones. Can't remember any more off the top of my head, as I don't dwell on them. I don't blame you. I very rarely think about movies that I didn't enjoy. I certainly don't dwell on them like you say. Also, you asked whether your top 10 movies would change. Probably not, but here are a few I would say are definitely worth a watch. Away, 2016. Why have I not heard of that? Away. Not heard of that one. The Limehouse Golem, 2016. I've got this upstairs, but I've never watched it yet. Paths of Glory. This is Kubrick, isn't it, from 1957? Again, never seen it. I've got it as part of a box set, a Kubrick box set, which I think has got Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, Lolita, that one, Paths of Glory, and something else I can't remember. Full Metal Jacket and Eyes Wide Shut, I think, is in there as well. Actually, I'm not sure whether Paths of Glory is in there, but I've heard good things about it, so I'm definitely going to put it on my watch list. Sully from 2016, thoroughly enjoyed that one. Really, really good. So good to see him sort of get him at the end. It really was really, 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 really good. A Good Person from 2013. Not familiar with that one. Zulu. Oh, how can you not like Zulu? And Gunfight at the OK Corral. I might have something to show you a bit later on that one. Is this the Burt Lancaster version? Which I've always wanted to see, and I've never actually got around to watching it. You've also put, I have to say, Taxi Driver is great. We'll watch it every time it's on. Same as me. Whenever it's on, it's one of those movies that even if it's sort of 20 minutes in, I'll still watch the end of it. Tony, The Straight Story. He travels on a ride-on mower. I love this. What did I say he travelled on? I can't remember. Was it a tractor? I think I said a tractor. Yeah, I've not seen it, but I definitely do want to take a look at that one. So thanks for that, Dave. Much appreciated, mate. It was great to hear from you. Jason K.R. Ginger Ninja. Morning, Jay. The Human Centipede isn't that bad a movie. Sure, it's a bit out there and a bit disgusting, but honestly, it's a well-made, well-acted film. It's the sequel that's all kinds of fucked up, which is the one, funnily enough, that Rick wants me to take a look at. So thanks for that, Jay. Oh, God. I'm going to have to relent on this one, aren't I? I don't know about the second one because I've heard horrible things about it. But the first one, if you're saying it's not that bad a movie and you're a bit of an aficionado as far as horror films go, if you like it, I'll relent on that one. I'll take a look at it. There you go. I've made a promise now. I will take a look at it, but I'm making no promises on the second one because this is the one that I believe the BBFC banned it outright for a while, and then they passed it eventually with many, many cuts. many cuts. So I don't know, and I've heard there's a third one. Why on earth would you want to make a third one? But leave the first one with me. I will add it to my watch list. I will not be purchasing it. I will either stream it or download it. But I certainly won't be buying it because I'm fairly certain this is one film I'm going to watch the once and then bin, and that's it. So leave it with me, all of you. Kingdom of the Spiders, I still need to watch. I have heard nothing but good things. I would love to know what you make of that, and I think your Trashy Tuesday spot would be perfect to feature Kingdom of the Spiders. I would love to see you do that one, and I eagerly await to hear your thoughts on that one. It is one of my favourites. It would definitely feature in my top 10 movies of all time. I've got very fond memories of going to see that. And again, I've owned every version of that. I had the VHS at one point. I didn't have the Super 8. I believe it was available, but I didn't have it. But I've definitely owned the VHS, the DVD, and I've now got it on, I think it's that Code Red Blu-ray. But I would love to hear what you think of Kingdom of the Spiders, Jay. So get on that one, yeah, get on that one. Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Twin Peaks, and Dune. All my favourite David Lynch films or TV. The one I want to see more than anything at the moment is Lost Highway. I keep hearing all sorts of stuff about this. Is it similar in style to Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet? I'm guessing it is. The other one that I want to have a look at is his, I think it was his debut feature, Eraserhead. Never seen it. I've seen the trailer to it. It looks as bizarre as hell. And, oh, God. It just looks strange. Strange. This is David Lynch. You know what I mean? This is what he does. But that is one that I would like to take a look at. I know it was a favourite at the old Scala cinema in London. They were all screening it there. But Eraserhead is the one that I would most like to take a look at alongside Lost Highway. I get the can't be bothered, believe me. 4 reviews a week, then recording, then editing, then everything else, not including everyday life stuff. Exhausting as fuck. It is. And it sounded wrong when I said can't be arsed. It doesn't mean that I can't be bothered with it. There are just some mornings when I could do without it. But they are few and far between, especially when I get into the swing of it. If I've done it for like 6 weeks in a row, it just... And that, dear friends, yet again, is what you get for copying and pasting instead of cutting and pasting. Yet again, I forgot to delete the previous video from the phone, and obviously it ran out of storage space and clicked off. So I do apologise for that. Where was I? We were talking about... let's see. Oh, that was it. Yeah, Jason, you were saying that sometimes you can't be arsed with it, especially with the volume of videos that you do. I mean, I only do it once a week, and I can do all mine in about an hour or just over in one go, and then I just basically put it through the editing process, which is basically just cobbling it all together, and then that's it for me. I couldn't do what you do, which is just several videos a week and then putting titles on them and all. God no. So yeah, I absolutely do get it, and it did sound wrong when I said can't be arsed. That came out really, really bad. It just means that every now and then I get up and I think, oh God, do I have to? But I know what you lot will say. You lot will probably say, if you need to take a week off, just take one off. But I don't like doing it because I always feel like I'm letting people down if I don't do this. And as I say, once I've done it for 5 or 6 weeks in a row, everything's fine. It's when I start taking weeks off through illness and having to work and this, that, and the other, you kind of lose momentum. So I do get it, Jay. I honestly do get it. I will get my top 10 worst movies over to you sometime during the week. And oh boy, there are a few. I can't wait to see what they are. I really, really can't wait. Looking forward to that, Jay. Great vid, Tony, and take care. Thanks ever so much, Jay. Much appreciated, mate. Mark. Morning, Captain. Morning, Mark. Callum is not alone. I also think Taxi Driver is shite. Okay. I'll let that one slide. However, I do agree with you on Midnight Express. A fantastic film. You are forgiven. Midnight Express is awesome. It's just a brutal, disturbing watch. I dread to think what it would look like if they decided to remake it, especially pushing the boundaries of violence. Nowadays, it could be really, really horrible. It was bad enough in 1978 when it came out, but yeah, really, really good. Trigger Point is also a great TV series with Vicky McClure. I've heard about this. Somebody else recommended Trigger Point to me this week, I think it was. This is the bomb disposal unit, isn't it? We just got to get finished with, is it Over There or Out There? The one with Martin Clunes. Plays a farmer. We're sort of 4 episodes into that. We've got the last 2 to watch, and I think Trigger Point will probably be next on the watch list. The No Holds Barred movie I've put in my top 10 worst movies. It's a wrestling film starring Hulk Hogan. I'm sure Guy and Jason will have seen it. It's very cringeworthy. I've never seen a Hulk Hogan film ever. I just haven't. Um, I didn't think much of him as a wrestler, so I definitely wouldn't think of him as an actor. And I'm fairly sure that John Cena and The Rock could act circles around him, but I'm not sure. You may disagree with me on that one. Speaking of Hulk Hogan in movies, has anybody seen Suburban Commando? No, I haven't. And there was also Mr. Nanny, which apparently was also shite. So, no, I can safely say I've never seen a Hulk Hogan movie, and I have no desire to take one in at all. So, great video, mate. Same time next week. Absolutely, Mark. Prisoners is an absolutely marvellous film. I think I read this out last week, but on the back of actually grabbing a copy of it, which I've not watched yet. Jason recommended this one to me, and it's brilliant. Get it watched. I will. And you're never seen it for this week was Ghostwatch. I was really pleased with this. I'm a massive fan of the TV series Most Haunted, so I very much enjoyed this. Quite surprised that I've not seen this before, as it's right up my street. 8 out of 10. It was groundbreaking stuff back in the day. I was one of the, the millions that tuned in probably 10 minutes into it and thought it was actually an outside broadcast and believed it pretty much right up until the very end, when it all went a little bit silly and very sort of Quatermass. But what a programme, what a superb programme, and it still packs a punch now when you watch it. The week before, and I didn't read this out, and I'm really sorry about this, you did Kingdom of the Spiders, which I don't think you were... I think what you said was it wasn't really your kind of a film, but you enjoyed it kind of. So it was definitely a product of its time, without a doubt, especially in the 1970s. Animal attack movies were just everywhere. They were all over the place. Jaws, Grizzly, there was Day of the Animals. There were so many of them. The Pack, dogs, pretty much any animal that existed turned on us in the 1970s. They all hated us. So there were quite a few, but I think Kingdom of the Spiders and possibly Day of the Animals were 2 of the absolute best. And if you're interested in that particular genre, on Shudder at the moment, there is a series with an episode featuring animal attack movies, and it is brilliant. We watched it last week, really, really enjoyed it. Gave us a few ideas for movies that I've heard of but not actually seen. But I can't remember what it's called now, but it's on Shudder, and if I think I'll put a post on about it later on. But it's really, really good. So let's see. Thanks for that, Mark. Much appreciated. Guy, in capitals, followed by exclamation marks. You've never watched Minder. You thought I was mad last week. That's nothing compared to this. Get to the back of the classroom, turn your back to us and place the dunce cap on your head. Jason, get him. I haven't seen it. I've probably seen odd bits of it. I've sort of bumped into it when I've been channel hopping over the years, but I've never actually sat and watched an episode. But I've got something a bit later that might sort of calm your furrowed brow. Great vid though. Cheers, Guy. Yes, both The Boys and Supernatural are well worth your time. I think both you and Rob will enjoy both of them. Get cracking. I'm definitely going to carry on with Supernatural. I will give The Boys a chance. I'm becoming in danger at the moment of being swamped with TV series to get into. People have been on at me at work to get the A-Team watched. I basically had a load of people come up to me one morning and basically say, "You've never seen the A-Team?" No, but I've actually bought season 1, as you may know if you watched the vid probably 2-3 weeks back, and I've promised that I will get some episodes of the A-Team watched. So the 2 series that I'm going to concentrate on at the moment are the A-Team and Airwolf, which Guy and Callie really want me to take a look at. I think if I introduced many more into the schedule as such as it is, I think I'm going to get completely swamped and I'm just going to lose it completely with it. I've got so many series that I need to get through. But I can't do this whole binge watch things where I'll watch 6 or 7 episodes in a row. The most I could ever hope to do will probably be one a day, but I would struggle with that. But if I can get one episode a week of each one watched, I'll be happy. But they're the two that I'm going to start with. Supernatural will come into it because I've already watched the first episode and really enjoyed it, so I will be carrying on with that. But I've also got Knight Rider to get through. What was the other one? Battlestar Galactica. There are so many retro TV shows that I need to get into. So all I ask is that you bear with me on that one. So thanks for that guy, much appreciated. Callie, morning sweetheart, how are you? Saturday morning Tony time. Bollocks, what a way to start an episode. I don't know why I leave those things in. People seem to find them amusing, but I'm thinking of leaving that behind now. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I just turned the camera on and thought, I can't remember what I was going to say, and it just comes out as bollocks, so apologies for that. Forrest Gump is a classic at this point. The soundtrack is amazing too. It absolutely was. I used to have the soundtrack to Forrest Gump on CD. I don't know whether I've still got it, but I'm fairly sure I have got it somewhere, but I will certainly track it down on Spotify. I do remember it being brilliant. On what you were saying about Taxi Driver being nearly 50, I think it's films like this and The Exorcist that helped push the boundaries back then, and that's why they might seem tame by today's standards. A film like Terrifier would not have got a release back in the 70s, that's for sure, but 50 years from now, we'll look back and say, well, that's tame by 2075 standards. I think anybody that thinks that Terrifier 2 is tame needs their head looking at. I'm sure it's a very well-made film, and it obviously appeals to the horror community. Have really embraced them. I thought they were horrible, absolutely horrible. The less said about Terrifier, the better. But as for pushing boundaries, it's true what you've said. Obviously, we'd never seen anything quite like The Exorcist in 1973. And the same with Taxi Driver in 76. They were groundbreakers. They pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable back in those particular years. And without that, we wouldn't have had the movies that we've got now, because obviously things would have just stayed the same. So if nothing else, you have to appreciate those particular kinds of movies, the ones that basically said, you know what, fuck existing standards, we're going to go for this, and that's what they did, and hats off to them for doing it, because they've basically created classics. R.I.P. David Lynch. Everything I've seen of his I've loved. I would say the same. There are 3 or 4 that I need to take in that I've not seen, but everyone that I've ever watched I thought that was weird but really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I get that. The Human Centipede. Oh God, here we go again. I actually watched it a few years ago, and to be honest, it's okay. I'll say this though, in my opinion, it's more the premise of the film that's scary and gross, but the film itself is a little slow in places and downright boring in others. As I said to my friend the other day, I actually found I Spit on Your Grave harder to watch than The Human Centipede. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Is it worth a watch? Only if you've never seen it. All right. Yes, I've said that I'm going to watch it, and I will take a look at it, but I'm fairly sure I know exactly what I'm going to think of it, but we'll see. But you and Jason have both been singing its praises, so it'd be rather rude of me to say I'm not touching that. So I will give it a go, but I will not put it on in front of Rob, because the first thing he'll say is, what the fuck is this? What the hell? He absolutely will not get it, I guarantee you. And if I actually explain what the story was, I'd be lucky if I got, I don't want to watch it. I'd be lucky if I got that. He'd probably just walk out of the room and just say, no, you're on your own with that one. And I wouldn't blame him, to be honest, but let's see, shall we? Got to take a short intermission on my comments, but I'll be back to watch the rest of the vid later today. And you came back, Callie, and I'm back to finish off this week's episode. Update on the flu. Thankfully, I've mostly shifted it. Still battling a sore throat and cough, though. I'm the same. It's gone, but it's always kind of there. So I still drink lemon tea with honey, basically just to keep it at bay, because I know that once you get it, it hangs on there for grim death and you can't get rid of it. Oh, don't worry about making comments on Higginson. We just like poking you about it. I don't mind the odd poke every now and then. No, it's not that. It's just that you put so much effort into the comments that you put for my video. It just always seems rude and inconsiderate not to do it back. I do watch the vids. I've seen them all. I just need to not so much find the time, but remember to comment on them. And I promise you, here and now, that when you return in February, I will keep up with the vids and I will comment at the time to give you something to read out. Because I'm not featured anymore because I never put anything. So leave that with me, Callie and Guy. My family is originally from Bristol. And when I've had a bit to drink, the accent does slip out a little. That was funny. That was so funny. I think it was half, wasn't it? Half. Half this and half that. And I thought at the time, where the fuck are you from? So I do get that. Wait, you've never seen Minder? Oh God, no! I've never seen Minder. For fuck's sake! Even I've seen that. Well, good for you. Hang in there. Oh, Tony, yes, Supernatural is most definitely worth working through from the first episode right up to the last. It's a hell of a road, but worth it in the end. I did enjoy that first episode, and I will be going back to Supernatural, that is for sure. I'm currently giving The Boys a rewatch at the moment. Bloody love it. I still need to get into that one. I did watch the first episode. It was incredibly violent, but rather good. Thank you for the love, Hon. As I said in the episode, it's a tough road, but there ain't no stopping me. You've been down a road that we could only dream of what you've been through. But you've come out of it the other side. You're a different person. Hats off to you, because I'm not sure I could do it. Time to get on the computer and get this third book done. As always, some great episode. Thank you for the shout out and the Higgis love. See you on the next episode. You certainly will. And I will be taking your suggestion on board of The Prophecy, by the way. We were talking about Christopher Walken movies, and you recommended a movie called The Prophecy. So I will be taking that one in. So thanks for that, Callie, and thanks for taking the time to construct these comments for me. Much appreciated. Jason P. Morning, Jay. Late viewing for me tonight. Didn't take notes either. Anyway, it was a good watch as per. Cheers, Jay. Glad you were enjoying this year's Never Seen. I do think it's better than last year's. There are more classics to come and obviously a few duffers, but it will definitely end this year. Sorry, don't be sorry. You know what, we've had a good run at it and we've really, really enjoyed it. And I've loved this thread more than any one that you've ever done, because you've basically watched movies that I never thought you'd touch with a 10-foot pole. But you've watched them and you've given good, honest opinions on them. I've really, really enjoyed it. So we're hoping that this new thread that you've got starting in Easter is going to be covering that. So let's see how we go. As for making videos and being asked, I see your point. You know we watch them and enjoy them, but only a few watch and comment, and you put a lot of work into it. It's the same with the threads I do. It takes me months to get info and find the posters and then do it all, and then only about 10 of us get involved, but it's those 10 that I do it for. Yeah, absolutely right. I do it for you guys because I know that you enjoy, for some reason, me sitting here prattling away with a mug of tea in my hand. And that's the only reason I do it. As I've always said, I'm not looking for massive audiences. All I'm looking for is to chat with the 10 or 11 people that do actually watch these things and comment on them and enjoy them. I know it's become part of your Saturday mornings, which I'm so flattered by it. I don't see why, but I'm so flattered by it. And as I said before, it did come across wrong when I said can't be arsed. I didn't mean can't be arsed as can't be bothered. I just get the feeling some weeks it will be nice to take a break from it. But it's not likely to happen in the near future, let's put it that way. I didn't record last weekend. I'm actually doing this, as you're watching it now, yesterday, Friday, because I've been off this week. And I thought I've got all week to do it, but as per usual I've left it till the last minute. So I'm recording this on the Friday, and I will be recording again on Sunday morning using the comments that you make regarding this video. But please don't think that I can't be bothered to do it at all. I just get weeks when I'm just not in the mood. And I'm sure you definitely get it, because you put these threads together, and they take an immense amount of time. We'll go into that in a minute. What is involved in this? I definitely couldn't be bothered with that. But yeah, hats off to you, mate. You do an absolutely brilliant job with these threads. And you obviously love doing them the same as I love doing this. But like you say, you get days where you just can't be bothered with it, and you just have to roll with that sometimes. So I do get it, and I know you get it. Now, as I hate January and February just as much as everyone else, I wanted to get my movies in order. Currently, they have been written down every 2 years from A to Z, but I wanted to put them into decades. So I did this for the 1400 or so movies I own. I have all the posters in one album on my phone anyway, but I went one step further and decided to separate them into years. Fuck me, that was hard. So I put them all into years so I can write them in a book and then carry on until I'm too fucking old, basically. This is my biggest fear, is that these watch lists I keep constructing, I just look at the sheer amount of DVDs and bloody Blu-rays I've got upstairs, and downloads and streaming, and think, you couldn't watch this lot if you lived to be 200 years old. So yeah, I do get that. Then I had an idea to show you all my favourite movies from each decade. That didn't work, as there were too many. No shit. So then I had the idea of showing you each year. But then, like the twat I am, wanted to go one step further. Because let's say 1977, which has to be your favourite year for movies, Tony. It most certainly is, mate. There's maybe 4 or 5 movies in there that are not for me, but everyone loves them. So this is where it got serious. I went through the top 500 movies on IMDb for each year and chose the standout movies that I do not personally own. And this is where it starts to get a bit complicated, but bear with me, it does kind of make sense. Then there's the case of sorting through the movies that I thought were all right, but I've only watched once and didn't really want to own. Then we have those that I enjoyed and would love to watch again, but don't actually own copies of them. Then there's the films I thought were shit. That's a hell of a lot of sorting to do. I did kind of get that. I did have to amend some of the sentences because it absolutely confused me, and in the end I did get it. So I'm hoping I've kind of simplified it a bit. I've done pre-1960s movies, and every year from 1960 to 2025. Well, I say I've done them. I'm only up to 1,990 at the minute. Told you it was taking me ages, but you will be reminded of some classics, also some forgotten and shite movies from years gone by. Eloquently put. I'm getting it. How the hell do I lay all this out so it doesn't clash with Never Seen, as I don't want to display movies that haven't come up yet on that thread. Thinking cap on again. At the minute, the plan is Saturday, Never Seen. Sunday to Tuesday, focus on 1 year. Wednesday to Friday, focus on 1 year. In total, about 33 weeks worth. I'm doing it for my benefit too, as I'm remembering films that I've only seen the once and wouldn't mind seeing again. I plan to kick all this off around Easter time, but I won't go in order of years. I'm going to mix it up so as not to clash with Never Seen. So that's my plan. There's a lot of posters to download. The 60s were pretty quiet, 70s picked up, 80s went crazy. Although I'm not downloading the posters until the week before I post. I've got them all written down at the minute. And weirdly enough, Mark, I've written down No Holds Barred just for the shite factor of that year. Do I need to watch this No Holds Barred? No, I don't. No, don't even think about challenging me for that one. Yes, Tony, Sting had bugger all to do with The Colour of Money. It was The Hustler. Told you those films confused me. Same time next week. Yeah, much appreciated, mate. I'm glad for that you clarified all that with the collection for us. It makes sense to me. I do kind of get it now. P.S. Never Seen next Saturday will be one to make you wonder if you dare read my verdict. All will be revealed. This is going to be one of my all-time classics. I can feel it coming. But we'll see. So that's all the comments for this week. Now, I've gone a little mad. Purchase. Oh, tell you what, we'll do the watch list first. these are movies that I've watched for January. The watch list that I've got is basically a file on my desktop, and I'm transferring posters into that file as I watch them. I've also got a file which is January and February's watch list. Posters are in there, they get transferred into January's watched list as soon as I've watched them. So I am keeping track of it, and I am kind of getting through it. I've watched more this week than I've watched in quite a while, but I've been off work. So the first one I've watched, I'm going to feature this probably as never seen for this week, so I won't pass an opinion of it. But the Hangover trilogy, which I got on Blu-ray, I think I'm going to do this as my never seen for this week. So you'll see what I thought of this probably later today. So I'll leave it at that. The proposition, which I think I've written a quick review on Letterboxd of this one. So if you want to know what I thought of that, pop over to my Letterboxd account. I'm fairly sure I've done it. If I haven't, I'll make sure I do. And this belter of a movie, everybody said how good this is. I haven't got the comments in front of me. I normally transfer all that on here, but I think Guy loved it, Mark loved it, everybody seems to love it. This is Callum's favourite movie ever, and I took it on yesterday, all 3 hours of it. I'm going to do a Letterboxd review of this one over the next couple of days, so you'll find out what I thought of it. But just to give you the heads up, I bloody loved it. It's a Christopher Nolan film, so I went into it expecting to be utterly confused by the end. And to be fair, it did go completely Christopher Nolan in the last sort of 25 minutes or so, to the point where I had to go on Wikipedia, take a look at the plot, which explained what was happening, because I didn't properly get it, and it kind of made sense by the time I'd finished it. But the film itself, absolutely brilliant. Shades of 2001, shades of Close Encounters, so many influences on this one. Everybody was superb in it. Matthew McConaughey was excellent. Anne Hathaway, superb. Matt Damon, brilliant as always. And the ending made the whole 3 hours worth it. The last 10 minutes were absolutely amazing. But I will do a proper review on Letterboxd, but I think you pretty much know. Would I class it as my favourite film ever? Probably not. Will I watch it again? Absolutely I will. Basically, to watch it, now that I know what's happening, I think I will appreciate it a lot more on a second viewing. So yes, I will be taking that in again. And that's what I've watched this week. And January's and February's watch list, there's probably about another 10, maybe 15 movies on it. I'm going to try and get them watched during the course of February. And any that are not watched, I will transfer into March's watch list. I'm not explaining this very well, but believe me, I get it. So, right, I've had a bit of a mad month as far as things being bought go. I promised that I was going to rein it in, and I will be doing, but I didn't feature anything that I bought last week, so this is kind of 2 weeks worth, so it's probably not that bad. But what I'll do is I'll take a quick break and then I'll come back, because this might take 10 minutes or so. Back in a sec. And we're back. Right, home stretch, guys. I have prattled on for far too long. I'm sure you've got better things to do. Right, I'll show you a few bits that I've bought, and it does seem quite a lot, and it is. But I am absolutely going to be reining it in over the next few weeks. So trust me. Start with the magazines. Latest issue of Infinity. I love this magazine. It's colourful, it's bright, it's all retro stuff. You've got articles in this on Adam West, who was Batman. Let's see, Spaced Out 2010, following Kubrick's Odyssey. That'll be about 2010. Let's see, Karen Allen interviewed about remembering Starman. Sid James, Bless This House. Let's see, 1975, fantastic events from 50 years ago. And Rambo, who is pictured on the front. That's that one. Latest issue of The Dark Side. Let's see, featuring articles on vampires, ghosts, monsters and UFOs, the Wolfman, revisiting Tourist Trap. I saw this on Prime the other night and thought, I've not heard of that one. So that's one that I need to have a watch and definitely have a read of that. So that's the latest issue of The Dark Side. Am I central? Just bear with me. That's better. And also another issue of The Dark Side, because I ordered a copy of this last month and it never got sent. So I included a note when I ordered this month's to basically say that I hadn't had last month's, and there it is. So they've made good of the word on that one. Let's see, Prom Night. Let's see, Blair Witch, Hollywood's Invisible Man. There's all sorts in there. Cracking magazine. What else have I got here? Latest issue of SFX, featuring Star Wars, Yellow Jackets. A colleague of mine is watching that at the moment. She absolutely loves it. The Monkey, which is Osgood Perkins' new Stephen King adaptation. Let's see, Daredevil, not a fan. Let's see, Stranger Things, Doctor Who. I think that's pretty much it. But I'll have a read of that at some point. Latest issue of Yours Retro. Let's see, Cartoon Capers with Tom and Jerry, Doris Day, Christopher Lee, Fawlty Towers, Doctor Who, Michael J. Fox, Hitchcock and the Woman Who Saved Psycho. That'll be interesting. And the latest issue of Empire, which I actually purchased from Morrison's, even though I've now subscribed to it. I don't think the first issue is going to come through until late February. So I thought I'd grab this one. And that picture on the front is from Danny Boyle's new movie, 28 Years Later, sequel to 28 Days Later and 28 Months Later. Pamela Anderson, The Electric State, Mission Impossible 8, Avatar. Yeah, so looking forward to finding out all the latest film news on that. A couple of books, in fact, quite well, 2 or 3 books. First one, I saw this on eBay and could not resist it. Basically, you know that I love the movie Warlords of Atlantis and I love movie tie-ins, and this was on there for about £4. So I'm definitely going to have a read of this. I love the movie. I can't wait for it to get a Blu-ray release. And this pretty much completes it. There's a nice looking quad poster on, is it on eBay? I can't remember. For about 25 quid. I may just invest in that. I think it would look handsome right behind me, but that's that one. Don't ask me why I bought this, because I don't know. I just looked at it and thought, I know very little about this woman, but I do like some of her songs. Sophie Ellis-Bextor's Spinning Plates. This is basically an autobiography of her life before and after the music that she produced and wrote. I just listened to basically an excerpt of it on Audible and thought, you know what, she's a nice lady, I'll purchase her book. So I'll let you know what I think of that when I get round to it. Books, what else have I got here? Now then, as you know, my guilty pleasure every single day when I'm cleaning at work is to listen to an episode of The Archers, which I've now been listening to for about probably 7-8 months. Loving it, absolutely loving it. It's only 12-13 minutes a day, but I tell you what, it's just nice. So I thought I'd treat myself to this for the love of The Archers. This is basically they call it an unofficial companion, basically articles about the show, the recording of it, the stars, the characters. This is everything Ambridge, and it will basically answer a lot of questions that I've still got regarding The Archers. So I thought I'd grab a copy of that. Somebody mentioned last week that they were into, I think it was Goraphobe, mentioned that he was into an old 40s actress named Norma Shearer. I'd never heard of her. I did look up some of her movies. Apparently she's done some with Betty Davis and a couple of others. And you know, I'm a bit of a sucker for old Hollywood movie biographies or autobiographies. So this is a biography of the lady herself, Norma Shearer. It's a good thick book, so it should go into some nice detail. That's the back of it. I know very little about her, but I'm fairly sure that I'll come away from this book knowing an awful lot more than I do now. And also, not exactly movie related, but as you know, I updated my computer just recently. He's put Windows 10 on it for me, which I don't know whether that's the system I had before, but I thought I might need this Windows 10 for Dummies. I'm going to work through this and basically get this computer working absolutely brilliantly, and only with stuff that I know I'm going to use. And I think this book will help me. It goes into quite detail. It's got 430 something pages. But a lot of it I will already know. A lot of it will be very, very basic, but there will be a lot of stuff in there that I don't know. Right, some CDs. Do you know what? I'm getting bored with the crooners that I've got in the car. I've played them over and over and over again. I've got quite a few, and I wanted some new ones. So I thought, you know what? I'll order some. Pat Boone. Now, you've probably never heard of him. He goes back to like the 50s and 60s. But this album in the corner here, this one, I used to have that on vinyl. It was given to me when I was a kid, and I played it over and over and over again. And I've never heard it since. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, I want that. And you also get 5 other of Pat Boone's albums. So I'm looking forward to getting that in the car. Forever Bing. 50 Bing Crosby classics. What more could you say? I love Bing Crosby. It's just nice, gentle, easy listening music for on the way into work, in the car. This is perfect. And obviously 50 classics wasn't enough. I needed another 100. So there's 100 hits from Bing Crosby, many of which I've never heard of, many of which are from his early radio days. So I will definitely be putting that in the car, and this one. And there's one to come yet. There's one that I've not received. Dean Martin, the Platinum Collection. I believe I've got a Nat King Cole one coming as well, but I'm not sure. I can't remember which one I ordered now. But Dean Martin, pure class, pure class. Okay, now DVDs and Blu-rays. 2 French movies that were popular in the 80s, I believe. Never got round to watching them, always wanted to watch them. They looked gorgeous. I've seen the trailer and they look amazing. Set in French vineyards, these two, Jean de Florette and Manon de Sauce. I know very little about them apart from the fact that they are set in a small French village and around a vineyard. They are my kind of movies, and I will be taking a look at these. I believe Gérard Depardieu is in one of these, but that's a good one. This one, The Time of Their Lives. I've actually already watched this. As soon as Rob spotted this on the desk, it was like, oh, Joan Collins, can we watch that? Yeah. So that was last Saturday's movie. I did a letterbox review of it. Absolutely loved it. Just a brilliant, gentle comedy drama. Nothing too heavy. Really, really good. As soon as I read that Joan Collins was going to be playing an elderly woman in a care home, I thought, oh, got to watch that. Just brilliant. And Pauline Collins is superb in this. There's also a very nice track on the closing credits, sung by Sophie Ellis-Bextor, funnily enough, called Morty and Me. I can't find the damn thing anywhere. I can't get a soundtrack for this. I've no idea where to get it. Spotify haven't got it. Amazon haven't got it. I can't find that particular song, Morty and Me, anywhere. I will carry on looking, but that movie, if you get the chance to watch it, if you like this kind of a film, you will really, really love that. As recommended by Mark, Guy, Callum, pretty much everybody, has basically said this movie, Prisoners, is absolutely amazing. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, so I need a morning to take this in. I know nothing about it. I think the best way to go into this is completely blind, knowing nothing, and just see what I think of it. And that's exactly how I approached Interstellar yesterday. I knew it was some kind of a space thing, but I had no idea exactly what it was about. I didn't realise until sort of halfway into it that the Earth that it was set on is a kind of a dystopian future. I didn't realise that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that and basically seeing whether I agree with them. This, I think, was mentioned by Sam. last week. And again, I knew nothing about it. Went onto the IMDb, had a look, and thought, oh, this is based around old Hollywood. Really, really need to see this one. Babylon. 3 hours and 10 minutes. This is an absolute mother of a movie. Not watched it yet, as you can tell, because the cellophane's still on it. But just the fact that it is set in old Hollywood in sort of the 20s and 30s, got to have it. So, but I do need a good morning or afternoon to take that in one go. This was also recommended by Sam, and I believe it's one of Roy's favourites as well. High Noon. I think I saw this many, many years ago, but I can't remember anything about it, apart from the fact it stars Gary Cooper and Grace Kelly, or Princess Grace as she became known, of Monaco. Looking forward to getting into this. I'm becoming more and more attracted to westerns, and I don't know why. I think it's because people like Sam and Stuart and Roy, they love their westerns, and it's quite infectious when you hear them talking about them. So yeah, looking forward to getting into that one. And another one from the same stable, I think Dave, you mentioned this one earlier, The Gunfight at the OK Corral. All these are still in the cellophane because I've not unwrapped them yet. Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas. Actually can't wait to get into this. I don't know whether it's in black and white. I get the feeling it's a black and white film, but another one. This was recommended to me by a colleague at work. I've seen the original, but I've not seen the sequel. And I spotted these for £5 something on Amazon. And I thought, you know what, might as well. Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane. Now, he recommended 10 Cloverfield Lane because he thought it might be the kind of thing that I would really, really enjoy. So I thought, you know what, yeah, we'll give it a go. So I will watch Cloverfield again. It's a found footage movie. I remember it being absolutely insane. But I will take a look at that before taking in the sequel, 10 Cloverfield Lane. But he recommended this one to me, so I've got to let him know what I think of that. Another one recommended to me by a colleague at work. My dad used to absolutely adore this. He watched it every time it was on, and I believe he watched the series that followed it, Das Boot. It's set on a German U-boat, I believe. Is it a German U-boat or a German submarine? Yeah. Again, know absolutely nothing about it. It's another long film. Let's see, it is not mentioned. That's what it is. But I know it's a long film. Oh, hang on. No, it's not. It's a long film, I know that. There is a version of this on Prime, which is about half an hour to an hour shorter. And I thought, no, if I'm going to watch it, I'm going to watch the full version. So Das Boot, looking forward to checking that one out. This one, I listened to a podcast on this. I used to watch this regularly many, many years ago. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. But I've not seen it for a good 20, 25 years at least. And I thought, do you know what? Listening to these guys talking about this movie, I really want to watch it again. Slapshot. It's to do with an ice hockey team. That's pretty much all I can tell you because I can't remember much else about it. It stars Paul Newman, and as I said on this podcast, I've never ever seen a movie where Paul Newman says fuck so many times. And I believe that's why it was so controversial when it came out. It was mostly the language. There was an awful lot of it. And I do remember that, but I can't remember much else about it apart from the three guys that they get in to beef up the team. And I believe that it was the Hanson triplets, wearing what we would class as national health specs, but they were just violent as hell, just bone crunching fun. I can't wait to have another look at this. It's been, like I say, many, many years. And finally, Guy and whoever else it was who mentioned Minder. How could I resist it? 25 quid for, how many discs is it? Is it 60, 30 something? It's a hell of a lot of discs. 33 discs in that. There's the back of it. And this is all of them. This is all the Dennis Waterman years. That kid that came after him, what was his name? Can't remember. Gary Webster. This is every single episode ever made for 25 quid. And I realised when I got it why it was £25. It's broken on the bottom there, the case. It's just split. There's a big piece missing out of it. But for 25 quid, rather than, I think it's something like 70 new, do you know what? I love it. So I will be taking this in, rest assured, but I don't know when, but I am now onto Minder. And that is it. That's all I've got for you this week, folks. I think I've run near an hour now. It must be nearly 90 minutes now, at least. Have a brilliant weekend, and have a great week next week. I'll be back the same time next week with more of the same. Thank you so much for joining me, and also thank you so much to each and every one of you for your continued and unending support. It never goes amiss. As I've said before, none of this would exist if it weren't for you guys, because basically I'd have nobody to do it for. But you've embraced this thing that I do here every single week with your comments. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the time you put into not only watching these things, but popping your comments on and basically giving me loads to talk about the following week. Your support is very, very much appreciated. And as I say, it's you guys that I do it for. The handful that do actually watch these things, you are who I do it for, and I love doing it, and I will never stop doing it as long as you guys watch it. I will say that. So thank you so much for that. It is so much appreciated. You guys make this thing worth it. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a brilliant week, as I've said, and I will be back again the same time next week. Take care, everybody, and I will see you again soon. Ta-da.